I want to shift our attention and introduce you to very interesting research that's come out of the Netherlands. Bert Blocken works with the Eindhoven University of Technology in the Netherlands, and they've come out with some simulations. He's joining us live on the broadcast at this time, and I want to show you the simulations that they're working with. Now remember, everyone's been talking about social distancing. That's a concept, but what does this mean in terms of actual distance? How far is safe when you're running, when you're walking, when you're in a room, when you're in a meeting, or you're at home, or even if you just stepped out for grocery? How far should you be? So that's the research that Bert Blocken has done. And what we'll do is we'll first play out the report that he's worked on, and then we'll talk to him about the research that they've done and what this means. When you talk about social distancing, how far is safe? Take a look at his report, and then we'll talk to the researcher who led the project.
Moving fast, breathing hard. Aerodynamics experts in Europe have modeled the movement of respiratory droplets people spew huffing and puffing. In their research, they urge caution while exercising outdoors during these COVID times. The simulations show that walking side by side reduces the risk of coming in direct path of droplets if you maintain a 2-meter gap. But when people walk, cycle or run in the same path, the standard social distancing buffer is not enough. Runners 10 meters and fast cyclists 20 meters apart. This to escape droplets coming from others exercising.
There's legitimacy to it, to be sure, and there was a publication that came out just maybe a week or two ago that looked more carefully at essentially the physics of droplets, microscopic droplets, even when people sneeze and cough and talk. And it does suggest that the range that droplets can travel, or what we think about as droplet nuclei, things that sort of aerosolize and can travel farther distances, is maybe greater than originally thought.
But the study is not cast in stone. By their own admission, the research is done not by virologists, but by aerodynamic experts. It is not peer-reviewed. And don't forget to wear facial protection, more so when exercising outdoor. Bureau Report, India Today.
So Bert Blocken is the researcher at the Eindhoven University of Technology in the Netherlands who worked on this project. He's joining us. Welcome, Bert. When I look at the simulations that you've put out, it basically seems to me that nobody should be outside without a mask. Going out without a mask is fraught with danger. If those particles are just floating around and you can catch COVID through them, your only protection is a high-quality mask.
Well, actually, that's not really our message. Certainly masks help. Actually, our message was also not really geared at talking about the risk, especially because we are aerodynamics experts, so we focus actually only on the aerodynamics. Our standpoint was, if this 2-meter distance, social distance for people talking to each other and standing still, which, by the way, in the past, in 2002, was determined by aerodynamicists, if this 2-meter is enough, which it is, if you're talking to each other, the droplets by one person do not travel that far. They will fall on the ground or they will evaporate before they have traveled 2 meters. Well, if you agree on this 2 meter, and it seems that many people do, if you want to be consistent and have the same level of non-droplet exposure when running or when cycling, well, if you're cycling, running straight behind somebody in the same straight path, then these distances need to be a lot larger.
So basically what you're saying, and you could maybe explain the key findings of your study once to our viewers, that should someone go out for a run, or you're saying, okay, it's possible that if there's no lockdown which prevents you from running, you can run, but you have to have a very safe distance. And if you're just standing normally, 2 meters is the least distance. So just a few feet is not enough. 2 meters is the least distance you recommend.
Yeah. So what I'm actually saying to governments, including my own government, is that, well, they have to be consistent in giving guidelines to the public. If you say people have to keep 2 meter distance between each other when they're talking, well, that means that if people are running behind each other, exercising, they should keep at least 10 meter. Or one of them should step aside and they should run in a staggered formation. Then it's fine. Because what our study shows, and actually in hindsight, it's actually quite according to intuition, is that when you exhale droplets by either breathing or coughing, the droplets while you're walking will actually appear in your back and they will stay in what we call the slipstream. And the slipstream is an area of low pressure behind the person that is moving. It can be a cyclist, can be a runner, can be a walker. And the droplets will stay there for a while and they need to get the time to settle down, to move towards the ground or to evaporate. But if somebody is walking very closely behind you, straight behind you, and the droplets did not have the time to settle, that person will walk through that cloud. To avoid that cloud, you need to take either a step aside and walk next to a person or overtake the person, but not walk in a straight line behind the person. If you want to walk in a straight line behind the person, you need to keep about 5 meter distance for walking, 10 meter distance for running, and if you're cycling at a high speed, it should be 20 meters. So these are large distances, I know, but for social contact, people standing still, 2 meters is also a large distance. And the 2 meter standing still is directly related to the 20 meter in cycling and 10 meter in running.
Wow, you know, that simulation that you've put out really brings alive what distance is safe. So at least 2 meters, don't walk parallel to each other, run in a staggered fashion, at least 10 meters if you're running, 20 meters if you're cycling, and at the very least 2 meters. That's the message that you're giving to the world through your study, and I think the modeling really brings it out more starkly than any literature possibly could. Bert Blocken, for joining us from the Netherlands, thank you very much. Deeply appreciate your thoughts and you sharing them with our viewers here in India. Thank you so much, sir. So this was a special edition of the News Track. Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.